I'd be a liar if I said that I'd never been deceived and never had some things that I thought were the Lord that didn't pan out to be the Lord. And you got to be honest about it and just say, okay, if it doesn't quack and it doesn't have a beak and it doesn't waddle, it might not be a duck, So there comes a time where, that kind of honesty comes with maybe the humility that only comes with humiliation and breaking. And I can look back on those times and see that pride was getting in.
Yeah.
Every single time that the Lord would let me fall on my face. We have the little quip about the poem Footprints in the Sand, and we call it Nose Prints in the Sand. My child, I was just holding your feet. I'll let you do a face plant if you need to humble you and bring you back up. But the Lord will allow and does allow deception. And the demons have been around way longer than us.
Yeah.
These are created beings with high intelligence. They watch every move of every eyelash, and they've been able to do that for over 6, 7, 8,000 years now. So they know the scriptures inside out. And they can get into your scriptures. It couldn't be the devil. No, I couldn't be deceived because the Lord gave me scriptures and scripture. The devil can give you scriptures too. Maybe to be more precise, they can get into your interpretation of the scriptures that you think you're getting right now. And the Lord may uncover you and let that happen because you won't listen to anyone else. If you have a group of friends around you or people you've kind of gathered, we tend to get around people who agree with us.
Agree, yeah.
And we have an agreed reality. And you can check yourself the minute you start to feel insecure or like you have to protect something aggressively, then there might be a problem. Why do I feel so strongly that I have to protect this? Because someone might take it. Because wait a minute. Your salvation doesn't depend on whether you give this prophecy or not, or whether you have this date wrong or not, or right or not. But we act like it is. And we get people around us who are in agreement. And that's the sadness, is the Lord sends us many other situations. But if we won't listen to the king or his son or his servants, we won't take the little nudge and the little push and the bump, then sometimes he has to just pull all the slats out and let us fall flat on our face,
yeah,
to humble us. And it's, oh my God, well, if that's been wrong, then what else has been wrong? Okay. I promise you, the world isn't going to end. And the Lord will love you all the more if you're humble enough just to come back and say, I'm sorry, Lord, whatever I'm doing, show me. Your world won't crash, I promise. And the Lord won't cast you off, and you're not damned to hell, and you won't miss a rapture.
And you're not a false prophet.
Right. It's like, oh my gosh, I've made a mistake. I've heard a demon spirit or false. Don't freak. Don't freak out. And I'm saying that because I've experienced it, and I've had to go back through journals in past years. Now, after a while, there'll be more teaching on this and sharing, but it's kind of like peas and gravel. You got to listen to the Lord. You got to pray, or you're not going to get anything. So when I said peas and gravel, you got to eat the peas. Maybe they got a little gravel in them. Well, you spit the gravel out. If you don't eat, you don't get any nourishment. You got to eat. So sometimes weeds do get in the wheat a little bit. We're not supposed to pull them up. We're supposed to let them grow up together and that kind of thing. But still, don't freak. Don't freak out. It's okay. But it's so crucial and important to be able to say, I messed up. I messed up.
Yeah, and some people disagree with me that the Lord will allow you to be deceived, but with Ahab, for instance, who will deceive Ahab, and which one of the prophets? How are you angels? He called in the angels. I'm looking for a way to deceive Ahab to going into this battle so that he'll be killed. And finally, one angel steps forward and says, I'll put lying spirits in the mouths of his prophets. And the Lord replied, that'll work. Go ahead and do it. So why would the Lord allow a lying spirit? And because pride is the most odious thing. It's the worst. It's the most destructive thing to our natures and to our relationships. And so because he loves us and we're not paying attention, he has to do something to really stop us in our tracks and get us to take a real good look at their lives. Why, Lord, did you allow this? Why did you allow me to be deceived all this time? I mean, I've gone through this. I've weathered these things. And it's like my whole world just fell apart. I was numb for 2 and 3 days because, typically I'll hug the Lord or give him a kiss on the cheek. I hugged a demon. I gave a demon a kiss on the cheek. Lord, how could you let this happen to me? And basically, he said that, you had to go through this for me to get your attention.
Because you wouldn't listen to
I wouldn't
anything or
listen.
anyone else.
Yeah, and
Or myself as well. I have to say that these are rare times that the
Right.
Lord will allow you to be deceived. One of the greatest fears afterwards is, oh my gosh, I can't ever go to my Bible for a rhema or a word again. How am I going to pray again? What do I trust again if they can get... No, it's okay. He just needed to get your attention.
right.
Now listen to the real Jesus and let him work on your humility and those hard things that you wouldn't or couldn't look at earlier.
Right.
He's not going to let you be deceived forever and ever. He might set you up and let you trip and fall just to get your attention and teach you a lesson. And most of us, it probably won't happen 3-4 times in our whole walk with the Lord, but it will happen.
Yeah, and if it hasn't happened, something's amiss, because that's part of the training that goes with this territory of being able to hear from him and having that kind of a working relationship. When you learn to type, you don't master it right away. You make a lot of mistakes, but you don't give up on learning. You go back to it because it's an important skill to have. And I don't think there's any skill in this world more important than being able to hear the Lord honestly
Discernment
and
of
clearly.
spirits, yeah.
And discernment is huge. After a while, when I make a mistake, I don't cave in anymore.
Right.
I realize, okay, Lord, you're dealing with me.
What are you trying to say?
And-
we
and-
just stop right there.
Yeah, and part of what he's a lot of times is trying to deal with our hidden attitudes of the heart. Like, say, for instance, I'll start putting words in the Lord's mouth, or some other entity or demon will put words into the Lord's mouth condemning someone for their behavior or downgrading someone. Boy, that's a red light.
Yeah.
Right
the Lord
there. That
does
is
not,
a huge red light, because he is so charitable. He doesn't do that. He says he's more likely to say, I love this person. I'm working with them. They have many wonderful points, and this is one area where we're growing together, rather than saying, that person's an idiot and a fool, and I'm sick of them,
they're
and I'm done with
deceived,
it.
and I mean to deal with them.
Yeah, right.
Be careful of the, brazen arrows and fiery swords.
Right.
It's just normally not his way.
His way is charity, charity, charity.
Right.
And you may be hearing from the Lord. This is an interesting dynamic, because the knowledge, when I hear from him, a lot of times he speaks to me with the words, other times that I hear in my spirit. Other times it's an impression which I put into words.
Well, he speaks to us in ways that we can understand, and the spirit of the prophet is subject to the prophet, the scriptures say. And so he's gonna, it's gonna sound a little like you, but just don't let it be you
Well,
know?
what I'm saying there is that I may have a bitter attitude towards someone. He may be trying to gently call attention to something, and that's the infused understanding I get. But I may be taking my bitterness and injecting it into the situation and changing the words to be very harsh because of my bitterness. And the other area where we go astray so often is when we're attached. I know I was talking to someone the other day, and I said, when I'm attached to something and I have an extreme interest in the outcome, I almost cannot even try to discern because I'm so wrapped up in whatever it is and I want a certain outcome that I can't let go of it enough to trust myself that the Lord is speaking to me, because I may color it. I may be holding on to it so tightly that whatever impression he sends to my heart, whatever words he speaks, I twist them around to make it all right.
Yeah.
That and vanity, and the demons will use vanity against us and try and make us feel like we're special,
Yeah, be
like
careful.
we're unusual.
That exclusive
We're
knowledge.
exclusive. The knowledge that we have is exclusive. We're above so many other people. We're so special.
Right.
The demons, when you hear something like that, boy, smell a rat, because that is vanity and that's feeding your pride. And when you hear that, really get a whiff, because something is not right in the water when that comes up. And that's one of the ways that I've been able to discern him, when he's taken me off on a wild goose chase, really.
You talked about attachments. Many times, almost all of us will kind of want or expect a certain outcome. Or will, many
Right.
times, let's say this, we want permission from the Lord to do this or that. Want to be, is this okay, Lord?
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of funny how we will look, almost write those things in between the lines that will twist it, turn it, curve it, and make it permissive
Right.
for us to do such and such. And something that we don't want to do, I just don't want to go to the nursing home Thursday. I just don't want to go. And, my scriptures today were all about prayer and this and that. So the Lord must be saying, don't go to the nursing home. Just be careful of, are you getting the goodies and are you getting what you want, or is the Lord getting what he wants?
I've noticed, on that note, I've noticed that he allows me to go off and think that it's okay for me to do something. In my discernment, if I discern a certain way, he allows me to do it, but then after I've done it, I feel all icky inside.
Yeah.
And the
fruit-
bottom line was that I never did really feel right about doing it in the first place. So I did it in self-will, but he allowed it to sharpen my discernment, because he wants us to discern from the gut. He wants us to know his heart and his
Right.
mind for us, and not have to turn to external things all the time, but to sense in the gut, this is right or this is wrong.
There's a lot to be said for staying very little and very hidden, because the minute you get the newsletters and the name cards, business cards and letterheads and all, you're somebody. The minute somebody starts to write back and, wow, you got 200 hits on your thing, you're somebody. And there's a little part of all of us that feels stroked and feels good that someone is paying attention to us, and it feels good and it feels validating. But we can't let that taint our motivation for
Absolutely not.
the Lord's permission or his leading or not, because then we're attached.
Yeah.
And the devil can use that. So just try to go into it saying, Lord, please make me, as you say, make me willing to be made willing.
Right.
Take my heart and make my heart and mind in such a way that I don't want this way, that way, or the other way. And bringing this back around to husbands and wives, it's not important what I think. It's not important what Claire thinks.
Mm-hmm.
What's important is, what does the Lord have to say about any given subject? And if I need to take correction, I want that. If he coughed, I'd run to hear it. When he corrects me, I run to hear it. It's not always easy, but I love him and I want to do what's right. And there have been times in the past that we all have to go to the Lord and say, I don't love you the way I should. I don't think I should. I guess maybe I don't want, my motives aren't as pure as they should be. Lord, make me more pure and honest and sincere about what is on your heart and mind. What's your will?
Help us to be faithful. Absolutely. Well, and to be honest with you, we've been at this for over 30 years, both of us, discerning God's will for our life, hearing from the Lord, and we still are not perfect, and I don't think we'll ever be perfect. I think that the Lord is still training and teaching us, and He'll continue to do so until the day He takes us. So don't get discouraged if you don't get it right the first year, or the second year, or the fifth year, or the 10th year, because it takes a long time to really be able to understand the movement of the Holy Spirit and to know when you're in the flesh and when you're not in the flesh. Wouldn't you say?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Well, I want to thank you for listening again and trusting that the Lord would work through all of us to sit at His feet and listen and learn and just be open, little, and humble, honest, and sincere. Well, that's it for Heaven Talk today. Dreams, visions, comment, and discussion on all things heaven. And God willing, we'll see you and speak again soon.
God bless you.